What's up, guys? Today we're going to do another live movie review. This is a movie that's been requested several times ever since the latest movie came out. So I figured we would hang out, do it live tonight, answer some questions, do a little Q&A, stuff like that, and have some beverages. What's this? Okay. We'll hang out a couple more minutes here. See who's up in the chat today. How's the audio, by the way? Is the audio pretty good? What is up, Subhash Reddy? What's going on, Subhash? Let me get some tech specs on Spider-Man right quick. 142, 239. All right. So we're going to be kicking this off once again on the Sony projector. Let me hit the record button. What's up, Alcazar? What's going on? Let me hit the record button here. All right. All right, so let's do this official. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be checking out The Amazing Spider-Man 2 on 4K Blu-ray. This has been a very popular title ever since the latest movie came out, so I decided to cover this tonight. Now let's go over a few tech specs. This movie was shot on 35mm. It's got a 4K DI. It's 142 minutes, so 2 hours and 22 minutes. It's PG-13. The aspect ratio is 239:1, so it will have black letterbox bars. And the audio is in Dolby Atmos. So let's go ahead, get this thing kicked off. We are using once again the Sony 325 ES 4K projector. That's the remote for it. Shout out to Value Electronics for sending that over for me to review and to use. But let's go ahead and start this movie right now. This movie did come out in 2014. Make sure this volume is turned down so YouTube doesn't catch it. All right, so I'm going to throw on screen the Dolby Atmos Object Viewer. If you guys don't know what the Object Viewer is, I will leave a link in the video's description down below. This will show you all of the active speakers in this Atmos mix. Now we are just kicking right off at the credits right now. This is the beginning titles with the flashing Marvel logo. And as far as the Dolby Atmos mix goes, I mean, I've seen this movie several times. This is a 100% legit mix. You can see here on screen that I've got all my channels are active here. There's a center back channel here which clicks on as well. These two little guys here are the wide channels. This purple rectangle is my screen. Center channel, left, right, top speakers, top left, top right, rear top, rear right height, that's the center back. These are my back channels, and these guys are my side channels. So I've got 9 lower channels, 4 height channels, and I've got 4 subwoofers. So 2 in the front, 2 in the back. And you can see by all the yellow objects, this is a dynamically active mix, and they will activate every single one of my speakers. So if you did have more than 9 speakers, every single one of them is going to become active at some point in time. You can see that all of these speakers are they just light up green when something's going on. And this is like the first chapter, so that's not even like anything really crazy going on either. What's up, Richard Owen? This is a good movie to demo. I haven't watched it in like forever. Yes, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 in 3D. One of the best looking 3Ds I've seen. So this movie does have a 3D version, which was converted for 3D. And if you are a 3D fan, between the 4K and the 3D version, I would say the 3D version is nearly flawless looking. I would probably choose myself to go with the 3D version, especially with those scenes where he's swinging through the city, or that opening shot where it comes off from his back and he glides down. I mean, watching that on the big screen in 3D, you're not going to get that sensation of vertigo in the 4K version. You're just not going to get it. When he's swinging through the cities, it feels like you're swinging through the city with Spider-Man. Like all kinds of amazing, great depth and separation. No crosstalk in the 3D version as well. Like I said, that kind of stuff in this movie, when you swing through the cities and anything aerial, so much better in 3D than on 4K. Shane, is this The Amazing Spider-Man 1 or 2? This is part 2. Do you use refresh rate switching, or do you watch the films at whatever the display shows? I leave it at whatever it is natively. So hopefully it's 24. So if it's 24 frames per second, it'll stay at 24. If it's at 60, it'll be at 60. So we're enjoying some cocktails tonight. Obviously, I'm not going to watch the entire movie. I'll skip around through some chapters. But right now, we are right on the airplane, or at the beginning, where the pilot has come out of the cockpit and he's got the gun pointed on Spidey's dad, which I think his name is Richard. Richard and Mary. I think I still have the digital code. Man, if you want to share it on the, if you want to share it on the community. But I haven't seen this movie in like, man, a couple of years. And I dropped this in a little bit earlier. I was kind of amazed by the Atmos mix, because I didn't think it was this good sounding. Like, I didn't remember it being this good sounding. And the fact that it's a dynamically active mix makes it even that much more better. Well, I will say right off the bat, I've got this in bright cinema mode. And overall, this is a pretty bright image. Not the brightest. It's not, I wouldn't say it's Aquaman bright, but right now we're seeing the plane go down And the specular highlights are actually very bright. I want to say they seem to be running a little bit hot, but they do pop extremely well, especially in this particular scene with the outdoor sky. And you'll see like the little lights flashing, the light flashing through the windows. Now we've got some flames in the background, and that's very bright. Although this movie was shot on film, so I mean, unlike Aquaman, where everything's super bright and vivid, this one has a little bit of dullness to it. Still very colorful, but a little bit of dullness to it. And since it is shot on film, there is a pretty noticeable amount of film grain as well. I wouldn't say it's heavy like 300 or BVS, but the grain is definitely present there, and it does have a very different look than the newer Spider-Man movies. So I mean, if you do like that organic film grain appearance, film-like appearance, this definitely has that to it, which I think for a very heavily CGI digital movie, I feel like the film grain kind of makes it feel more like it's realistic rather than being so clean and digital like on the newer Spider-Man movies where everything is so clean you can see the digital effects on Spider-Man's costume. Here, the amount of detail is so good you can see the folds in his suit, unlike Tom Holland's Spider-Man where everything is all digitally clean. The man has 0 folds in his suit. I believe they took out all of those folds and like digitally replaced his costume for the newer Spider-Man movies, whereas this one is, his suit is like practical, so you will see the folds, and the amount of detail in this looks amazing, especially for this movie back in 2014. Still not as crisp as, say, an Aquaman movie, but I would say the level of detail is still very nice. I mean, you can see this sheen off of Spidey's suit when he's swinging through the city right now. If you have 4K, do a giveaway. By the way, good movie and Atmos. I think the pre-order date for Spider-Man has posted recently. I don't know what day it is, but I think I saw it. I think I saw it on Twitter, like either yesterday or today. I didn't mark down the date though. I'll have to check. I'm sure somebody in the chat knows. But in a scene like this where they're driving through the city, you've got the sun kind of beaming down from above, and you get those specular highlights off the cars and the reflections when Spidey's looking into the truck with Rhino. There's some parts where it seems like the highlights seem a little bit overblown. It could be the display, but I think they do seem a little hot. I mean, this scene here with Max and Spidey, the textures in his suit, you can see like all the little web textures in there, and how the fabric glistens. Like the detail is that good. Still got grain in it, but it's still a very nice level of detail. Let's skip over to the next chapter. All right, now I just skipped over to the part where Peter swings into the graduation and kisses Gwen Stacy. I think if we were I think if we took Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man and mixed it with Tom Holland's Peter Parker, we would have like the perfect Spider-Man. a perfect Spider-Man movie, because I always felt like Andrew Garfield seemed a little bit like he was a little too cool for school type of Peter Parker. Whereas in the comic books and the cartoon, Peter Parker is a young kid. He was like a genius. I mean, Andrew Garfield's like a genius in this as well, but he seemed a little bit more innocent in the comics and in the cartoon. Whereas I just felt like Andrew Garfield just felt like he was, I don't know, a little too emo cool or something like that. Like he was maybe a little bit too cocky as Peter, whereas Tom Holland, more of an innocent kid. Shane, just wanted to thank you for doing what you do. Just finished the home theater based on many reviews you have. Thank you. 7.3.4. Very cool, man. What kind of speakers do you have? If the Dolby Atmos viewer is the Dolby Atmos viewer a propriety of Trinov, would be great if the other receivers or processors could incorporate it. Yes. I mean, I think other I think you I think other brands could incorporate it if they wanted to, but I don't know if they're going to. Or I don't even know if they have enough like processing power to run the software. So I mean, I I do know that Storm Audio is working on something similar to it. I don't know if it's going to be the same with the objects or not, but I was told that they are working on something very similar. And that's the only other processor that I know that may have something similar to the object viewer. I wasn't a fan of Garfield's Spider-Man. I feel like the more that I watch these Garfield Spider-Man movies, the more I like them. I really like part two. I didn't like part one so much, but I really liked part two because of like the love story. Like I felt like they hit the relationship angle with Gwen and Peter in this movie really well, especially towards the end when she dies. Like I felt that there was some actual good emotion towards the end of this movie. And then when they put that in towards the new movie, that really hit pretty nicely when you watch this one, then go and watch the new Spider-Man movie. Tobey Maguire still holds the crown for Spidey. I like Tobey Spidey. I really wish we would have got Mary Jane in Amazing Spider-Man Part Two. Like I seen all the deleted scenes with Shailene Woodley, but I guess for whatever reason, man, they just deleted her out. Let's cut her out of the movie. Now here's a nice scene for Black Levels when they're outside of the dim sum restaurant, the Chinese restaurant. Very good Black Levels here. Like I'm not seeing any Black Crush or anything like that. Nice detail, especially with the new highlights again with the red lights, the red neon lights in the background, purples and reds, some oranges. You can see the fog back there. Not seeing anything being crushed. Nothing being clipped as well. Like I thought some of the highlights during the daytime stuff was highlights are being clipped, but for this scene here, some of these bright speculars look very nice. Now this close-up here, there are some close-ups that look very good, like you would think it was 4K crisp, but in this particular shot, it's actually very soft. So on Emma Stone's face, even Garfield's face, it's got that film softness to it, so you're not really getting a lot of detail. So in this particular scene, it looks very much like a standard Blu-ray, like a very good looking standard Blu-ray. So you're not seeing pores or wrinkles or anything like that. Now we're checking out the scene where Spidey's swinging through the city after they just broke up. And this scene in 3D, pretty amazing looking. See, this is one thing I like about Garfield Spider-Man that you don't get with Holland Spider-Man is the Spider-Man with the big eyes. So Holland has like the smaller eyes where he's got the Todd McFarlane eyes. I don't know if you guys are comic book fans or not, but when McFarlane used to draw Spider-Man, he used to give him like really big eyes that used to take up half his face. And you get this with Garfield Spider-Man. First set of speakers are Martin Logan 60 XTIs. Use the Martin Logan Slims for sides and rear. Waiting on a Trin of 16 now. VSVS PB4000 and 212 Martin Logan subs. Yeah, man, those 212 Martin Logan subs. I don't know too many people that have bought those Martin Logan subs because they're those are pricey subwoofers. I think what I think when I reviewed them, they were like $4,000 a piece, either $4,000 or 4,500 a piece. So they're pricey subwoofers. Definitely one of the best subwoofers I've heard. And I like that little 20 hertz tone it plays. If you want to check, for any anything loose in your house, that 20 hertz tone is pretty cool. But yeah, it's gonna be a big difference once you go from the Marantz 8012 over to a Trinov. Don't forget, you're gonna need subwoofers as well. I mean, you're gonna need amplifiers as well. Just ordered some Martin Logan 40XWs for my front soundstage. Have you ever heard of them? What's your thoughts? 40XW. I don't think I've ever heard of any 40XWs. Let's see. 40XW. Oh, you told me these big ones? Are you telling me you bought the Statement 40XWs? Are you telling me you bought the Martin Logan Statements, the gigantic in-wall speakers? Is that what you're trying to say? 4,500 at Best Buy. Would you recommend the amp from the Trinov, the sister amp, to go with the 16? I would. I have the I've got the Trinov 8M, Amplitude 8M right now, and they have that gain matched for the 16 and the 32. So as far as like noise floor is concerned, if you're going to pair the Amplitude with the 16, then it's like the quietest amp I've heard, since it's level matched and gain matched. So it's like dead quiet. So where other amps that I've had in here, like the Emotiva, for instance, there's a noticeable hiss that comes from the speakers. Not if you're like sitting here at like your listening distance, but if you were to go up to the speaker with an amp that wasn't the Amplitude 8, you'll hear a hiss coming from the speakers. It's not like super loud where you're gonna sit here and watch a movie and hear it, but let's say if you have a ton of speakers in your house, maybe not so much with two speakers, but once you get like 16, like 11 speakers, 16 speakers, 32 speakers, that little bit of hiss you'll start hearing them amplified even more coming through all of those speakers. So, I mean, if your channel count is going to go up high, you might want to stick with their amplitude amp. So you get like the quietest noise floor. So I would recommend it for sure. Yes, it is. Yeah, having them installed this week. Have you heard them? Hope they live up to the hype. I have not heard them. I've been invited to go hear them many times. I have been offered to review them, but unfortunately, I just don't have the space for those gigantic things. If I could, if I had my own house, I definitely would have took them up on the offer. But they look pretty insane. And if you get some pictures, if you are getting it installed, then you got the email. You send me some pictures. I would definitely like to see that. 4K reviews are excellent, by the way. Thank you, Fotis and stuff. Fotis and stuff. Already looking to upgrade my speakers. Haven't turned in yet. I'm always looking to upgrade my speakers. I think speakers are always one of those things where it's like, no matter what you get, you're always gonna be looking for something else. But let's go ahead. You know what? This movie doesn't have like a lot of crazy detail in it. I don't know why they changed. I don't know if you guys have seen No Way Home yet, but Max is a totally different character in the new movie. Like he's like this geeky guy with buck teeth in the Amazing Spider-Man 2, but No Way Home, he's basically Jamie Foxx. I don't know how that happened. Like, did they pull his they must have pulled his Electro not from this universe, but maybe from a different universe or multiverse. See, now here's a really close-up scene between Harry and his dad, and you would think the detail would be better in this, especially being so close up, but just like the scene of Emma and Andrew in the alleyway, these close-up shots, not as crispy or not as detailed as you might think they are. They're actually very soft. So are not, so I'm not seeing that high level of detail that you might expect coming from a 4K transfer, especially like a Sony transfer. I mean, so this movie definitely has that. You could tell this is 100% shot on film. It does just have that soft film look to it, but you're just not getting that extra level of detail and nuance. You're not seeing the pores, you're not seeing the wrinkles. Everything is just very, it's got just a softness to it. Oh, Tony Stark is in here. This is a good 4K, terrible film. I like this movie, Tony Stark. I didn't like Electro. Electro was so bad in this movie. Very surprised that Marvel 4K movie reviews on Audio Score on Dolby Mix. You know, it's kind of a bad looking movie is that Eternals on Disney Plus. That might be one of the worst looking 4Ks I've seen, or well, Disney wise. Yeah, the Eternals on Disney Plus is so dim. I thought it was my projector when I first saw it, but I played it back on the television set on the OLED, and man, it's dim. It's dim on every one of my TVs in the house, and I highly doubt it's going to be any different on the physical disc either. The mix is okay, but the audio mix is okay, but the actual visuals are just dark, which is weird because it's like everybody's got these Power Ranger costumes, and it's got such a dim trend, such a dim overall look. I will say these darker scenes, they actually they don't look bad. No, I have not seen the I've not seen the Blu-ray of this. Not in a long time, so I can't say in comparison what this looks like to the standard Blu-ray. But I mean, just seeing this as is, I think the biggest thing with this transfer is definitely going to be the HDR, because the level of detail really doesn't seem that much different than a really good-looking 1080p transfer. I mean, there was some nice detail on his costume, you know, with the folds and everything. But as far as like overall, either like close-ups, these midfield shots, far field shots, background stuff, it's really soft. So I mean, I don't think if you were to put this in, you would confuse this for being a 4K Blu-ray. I mean, the blacks are nice, the shadow detail is nice. I don't see anything being crushed, like I said earlier. And you know, the colors they definitely pop, which is weird because I remember going to shows where they would show off the new Sony displays, and they would always play The Amazing Spider-Man 2 to show off how good the HDR looked. So if there was a new 4K display out, like an OLED or an LED or projector, they would always play this movie. And looking at it now, I'm a little surprised they play this movie, because the level of detail just maybe slightly better than a Blu-ray, if not the same as the original Blu-ray. Like I said, I haven't looked at the older Blu-ray, but this really doesn't blow me away as far as like detail and resolution. The colors look very, very, very nice. The HDR looks very nice. Like right now, we're looking at the hallway where Max is about to get electrocuted, and I like the neon colors. The blues pop really nice. I do feel some of the highlights get clipped. I feel they do run a little bit hot, like the whites run a little bit hot. So I could see why they would use this on like a projector or an OLED television set, but just the level of detail and sharpness, just it's not there. Nothing worse than an overly dim transfer. I thought Free Guy was a little too dim. Yeah, Free Guy was definitely way dimmer. It was way dimmer than the Blu-ray. It's weird, sometimes you'll get these HDR transfers that are really dim, but if you compare it to the Blu-ray version, then I mean, you'll notice like smoother tones and gradations, but then they sacrifice brightness for it, which doesn't make any sense. When is the Eternals 4K review, Shane? I'll probably wait for the Blu-ray to come out. I would like to see what the Blu-ray looks like compared to the IMAX Disney Plus stream. I mean, I could buy it on Kaleidoscape and compare that to the Disney Plus stream, but it's like $25 on the Kaleidoscape, and I really don't feel like paying $25 for the Eternals. Let's face it, the movie kind of sucked. The transfer looks like it sucks. The audio seemed okay. I only got like halfway through it before I started dozing off. The CGI sucks in it. Fuck. What yo, the biggest I feel like it's the biggest disappointment in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like they could have spent a little bit more money on the CGI. Like those dogs or whatever, those dog creatures that turned into that guy when he killed Gilgamesh, where he like he morphed into this guy. I don't know what his name is, but that was like cheesy as hell. So I'm definitely gonna wait for the physical to come out before I do that one. I can barely stay awake for it. And yes, it does have an Atmos mix. It's locked. It's locked at 7.1.4. So it's wait, hold on. Let me think. Is it locked? I don't know. I'm thinking maybe it's not locked at 7.4. I'd have to go back, but I think that maybe there was a couple moments where you get some stuff that moves. So I'd have to go back and watch it. Like I only saw 30 minutes of it, and I think I might have seen a couple objects that moved. So I can't say 100% for certain if it was an Atmos mix. Free Guy's dim but sharper than the Amazing Spider-Man 2. Yeah, man. The further I get into this, watching this movie, the more I can see that this really does just look like a regular Blu-ray. And the more that I can see that the HDR seems to be pumped up a notch too hot. What we got here? I got Gene over here texting me. What did he buy? Mark Levinson. Oh. What does he have here? Gene got some Mark Levinson gear. Damn, dude, I need to get me some Mark Levinson. Amazing Spider-Man 1. I don't know, man. I feel like this is the better movie. I don't know if I'm going to go watch part 1. I really want to get a Kaleidoscape to get Live, Die, Repeat. Listen, you don't have to get Live, Die. You don't have to get Edge of Tomorrow on the Kaleidoscape. You can get it on Vudu. I think the only way to watch it in 4K with Atmos is on either the Kaleidoscape or on Vudu. I think iTunes is still only 5.1. And I know the disc is only DTS 5.1. If you could somehow get the Atmos mix off of the Vudu stream, or, well, it would have to be the Vudu stream, and put it in with the 3D version, man, that'd be perfect. A 3D in Edge of Tomorrow is so good too. I'm going to say equally as good as the Amazing Spider-Man. But dude, what is it? It's only like 15, maybe 10, 15 bucks on Vudu. That is definitely the way to get it. That is on the Kaleidoscape in Atmos, and Heat is also on Kaleidoscape in 4K. Only 5.1, no Atmos for Heat, but Heat's been on the Kaleidoscape for years, and I think one of the first movies that I reviewed was Heat in 4K on, I think, the iTunes stream, either iTunes or Vudu, one of the two. And in both streams, on Vudu and on the Kaleidoscape, and I'm pretty sure when it comes out on physical media, if it comes out this year or not, he is equally as dim as Eternals and Free Guy. So for all you guys looking forward to seeing Heat on 4K, be prepared for a very dim looking transfer. Second on the Kaleidoscape, plan to get in the 6TB soon. A lot of people don't appreciate the Kaleidoscape because of the price, but it's one of those products where it's like it's not it's not one of the first products you buy for home theater. It's one of the last products you buy for home theater, because once you get your processor situated and your speaker situated, you probably have a Blu-ray player situated, your furnishings and your room is all done. You got your streaming device done. So you can already stream your media with your Apple TV or Android box. You've already got your regular Blu-ray player. And the last thing would have to be the Kaleidoscape, because you've already got the main things out of the way and the cheapest things out of the way. And the Kaleidoscape would definitely have to come last, I think, as far as the way I would shop. Because it's not a necessity, but it is definitely more of a convenience product. I don't think a lot of people understand that it's a convenience product, and like nobody wants to sit there and go through their hundreds or thousand movie collections and put them through the computer and rip them. That is a lot of time. If it was a full-time job and you got paid to do that, you could afford yourself a Kaleidoscape and just press buy it now and it'll get downloaded automatically to your machine. And plus, whatever movies you have, you can also get discounts towards the same movie for the Kaleidoscape version. So that's pretty cool as well. Buying a Kaleidoscape just to watch Edge of Tomorrow, that's a pricey movie. Listen, it's a pricey movie just normally. I think it's like $40 normal. I think that's the most expensive movie I've ever paid for. It's $39.99. Totally worth it though. Great Atmos mix. The Atmos mix, like when an Atmos mix sounds good, it just blows away like everything else. One of my top Atmos mixes. One of the movies I always put in when I'm watching demos, especially if I'm doing like a subwoofer demo. If ordering a Kaleidoscape, can't hate the price. If you hate it, you hate the price because you can't because you can't buy it. Trinov was my biggest order for myself. Kaleidoscape and Trinov, they're like partners. It's like, listen, if you have a Trinov, you most likely have a Kaleidoscape. They kind of go hand in hand. I think everybody I know that has a Trinov has a Kaleidoscape. The thing is, I wish like they've been around for like 20 years. I think 20 years this year they've been around. And I still hear the whole thing is like, what happens if they go out of business? You're going to lose all your movies, blah, blah, blah. I mean, anything can go out of business. The fact is, like, who's really making 4K Blu-ray players anymore? I mean, Sony and LG, I think they've stopped making players for the past 2 years. I mean, if you want a Blu-ray player, you can pick up a PS5 or an Xbox. Otherwise, you're stuck buying those older players from like 2 years ago. Or you could buy the Panasonic players. Those players start at like, what, like four or $500, and then their top player is like $1,000. Most folks have a hard time dropping $200 for a Blu-ray player. and then to find out they have to spend like 400 or 500 bucks for an entry level Panasonic. So it's like when people complain about Cloudescape's gonna go out of business, you're gonna lose your movies. I'm like, dude, your discs could also rot. You could lend your movies out. You could touch your disc, put a fingerprint on it, it could stop working. I mean, there's like more ways you can mess up your 4K disc collection than having a Cloudescape go out of business. Even if they did go out of business, you could still watch your collection because you've already downloaded it. So I mean, there's still that. But I wish that ever since Cloudescape has been around, you would have thought there would have been another competitor to the Cloudescape, but there has not been a competitor to the Cloudescape. So I feel like that's why their price is so high because they have really no competition. There's streaming media, which is affordable. There's Blu-rays, which is like a step up as far as like price wise. But then you have to deal with like messing around with discs and boxes and all that. And then the next step up would be the Cloudescape, which obviously the entry point is a bit more expensive. Then the next step up are these machines where you have to be like a celebrity. I think it's called like red carpet media or something like that, where you actually get these movies like day and date of the theatrical release, but you're paying something like, I don't know, like 500 grand per movie just to watch it for like a 48-hour period. Or me, I think it's called Prima Luna, Prima Cinema or something like that. So there's these different tiers of acquiring your media, and it goes along with everybody's budgets. Like I think the majority of the guys are in the streaming and Blu-ray tier. Then if you're a little bit more well off, or you know how to save your spare change, you're getting yourself a Cloudescape. Then if you're really well off, you're up into these day and date release machines where you have to have like fingerprint security just to buy movies. All right, so right now we are at the scene with Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone. They are going on a walk. They're under the tree. I believe he's going to get called away to go save the city from Electro any minute now. But this is a good scene as well. As far as color and everything, color and fidelity look really nice. Still, we've got some specular highlights in the background here with the red and the yellow. They definitely pop. I feel that they are definitely cranked up a little hot. But shadow detail, spot on. I can still see all the detail in his wool jacket and his backpack. So that's nice, but this is a very intimate scene, so everything's close up. And if you're expecting to see strands of hair, pores and follicles, cotton texture on Emma's suit, you're not going to see that. This is a very soft scene. And I'm sure it looks very similar to the Blu-ray. So I wish I would have watched this. I wish I would have watched this maybe a little bit sooner, because I'm not sure if I would have done this review if I would have really paid attention and was like, wow, this looks like a Blu-ray. Because in my mind I was thinking I was going to be blown away by this. And I'll tell you what, Andrew Garfield seems to have aged very well between 2014 and 2022, because he looked pretty much the same as he does now, as he did back then. And so is Jamie Foxx. I wouldn't mind seeing another Andrew Garfield Spider-Man 3. The suit is detailed. That's it. Yeah, man, the suit looks great in this. I love this suit. This is my favorite Spider-Man suit of all the Spider-Man movies. This is my favorite suit. I feel like Tom Holland's suit is just way too CG. It's like all CG. Now see, this looks cool with Electro and his electricity coming out the hands, looking like Palpatine in this scene. That looks nice. So I mean, if you want that HDR pop, this scene looks great when they're in Times Square. You got the red steps glowing in the background. Jamie Foxx's blue skin. Jamie Foxx's blue skin. So I could see why they would use like this scene to demo their television displays, because this, even for my projector, this pops really, really bright. Is it cranked too high? Yeah, it's definitely cranked high, but I could see why you would put this on an OLED or a 4K projector, because they got this thing, they got this HDR juiced. It's almost like if you were to watch a regular Blu-ray and you have an LG TV, you turn on like HDR effect. This is what this looks like. Now, if you're looking at the Atmos viewer, you can see that the car flies through the air. The cops are shooting their bullets. There's a swirling effect going through in the height speakers. I mean, this is demo worthy Atmos mix. There's the electricity that shoots from his feet, and you can hear it shoot from the center speaker all the way to the back. I don't know if this movie is the best that it could look. Maybe if they spent a little bit more time with it, I could maybe see they could probably squeak out a little bit more detail. I feel like they could probably refine this some more and it would look amazing. Can you add your own physical disc to the Kaleidoscape? You can, well, I don't know if they still have it or not, but they used to have a Kaleidoscape, I think it was like a carousel player, where you would put your movie, you would put your disc in, and they would rip it to the hard drive, but you always had to have your disc inside the machine due to the DVD slash Blu-ray copyright protection laws. So I don't think they're making that anymore. So I think if you wanted that, you would still have to go like eBay or something like that on the used market. But they used to have something where you could do that. But I'm pretty sure they don't have that anymore though. Awesome, dude. I got the Blu-ray version and I'm happy with it. I don't know if the Blu-ray version has Atmos or not, but if it doesn't have Atmos, if you're looking at that Atmos viewer, this is one of the best. This is one of the best Atmos mixes I've seen and heard. I mean, look at that mix, man. How many speakers do I have in here? I've got 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I've got 14 speakers in here, and all 14 of my speakers are active right now. I mean, if I had a bigger space and I fit 32 speakers in here, I can only imagine how amazing, how freaking good that would sound. This is from a Resident Evil fan, 666. You know what's an amazing sounding mix too is that Welcome to Raccoon City. That's a pretty killer Atmos mix too. The movie kind of sucked balls, but the Atmos mix sounded stellar. Yo, if every Marvel movie that came out had the same Atmos mix as this, dude, there'd be like no stopping. I mean, no stopping Marvel. I mean, I got this volume fairly low so YouTube doesn't pick it up. And I can hear all kinds of shit going on in my height speakers. Now there's the scene where Electro is about to put the two wires into his chest, and you can hear the voices come through in the height channels in the soundtrack. I don't know whose voice that is, Marilyn Manson or something. I don't know. It sounds like Marilyn Manson. But it's coming through the height channels, and then you've got all the buildings exploding and the debris falling above your head. You can hear the crackle of his electricity come through the center channel speaker. Then we're gonna have to start using this movie as a demo material. Like I didn't realize how good this movie sounded. Now you got Spidey with the fireman hat on. It's my birthday. It's time to blow my candle. Dude, he's got the best Spider-Man suit. Come on. It just kind of sucks that he did look. I don't know. Was he like 30 years old when he shot this movie? It's supposed to be like he's supposed to look like he just graduated from high school. I mean, let's face it. Tobey Maguire didn't exactly look like a high school kid either. The Blu-ray doesn't have Atmos, but if you still have the digital copy, you can use that, and Apple will give you Atmos mix. Does Apple have 1080p with Atmos? I don't know why some of you guys don't like this movie. I thoroughly enjoy this movie. I think, when I first saw this movie, I didn't like it so much because Harry looked cheesy as hell. I mean, he still does. And Electro looks cheesy as hell, and he still does. But this movie's got a lot of heart to it. I like it just for a simple fact. It's got some good sentiments in it. I don't think any of these Tom Holland movies have. I don't think Tom Holland has the same emotional connection with Zendaya as Garfield has with Gwen Stacy in this movie. You get more of that, sensitive connection in the latest movie, or especially towards the end of the last movie, or No Way Home. But this one, I think you could feel it more running through the entire duration of the movie. I'll skip over to the end here. Shit, this is a long movie. Jeez. Look at Aunt May. Aunt May from this movie into the new Spider-Man is such a huge difference. Aunt May here, it looks like she would actually be your Aunt May. And then you got Aunt May, Tom Holland's Aunt May. And I don't know how old Marissa Tomei is, but Marissa Tomei is still looking pretty hot. This Aunt May just looks like my aunt. It looks like my real aunt. Marissa Tomei don't look like my aunt whatsoever. If my aunt was that hot looking, damn. I need to throw the 3D version in here. That's what I need to do. I have the I have remuxed the Atmos into the 3D version. And that's the best way, man. If you guys know how to do that. I know what's up with Harry Osborn. I know what they were thinking. You know, they were talking about doing maybe Andrew Garfield against Tom Hardy's Venom. I could see that going down. That would be pretty cool. So now we're here with Harry flying on his little jet scooter thing in the air, and you can hear him zip around during the high channels and the top speakers. Dude, whatever happened to Dane DeHaan? He like disappeared after this movie. He like disappeared. Dude, the CG looks. I feel like the CG looks way better in this than it does in the new Spider-Man movies. You know, this could be one of those situations where they softened the entire movie just to blend the CG with everything else. So, I mean, that could be one of those situations. Because, like, this whole third act is all CG. So I could see where they would soften it, add the extra film grain to it, just so everything would blend a lot better. It made Forrest Gump's mom. He is. She was. She was Forrest Gump's mom. I forgot about that. Man, this does look like a Blu-ray. This like straight up looks like a Blu-ray. Man, you know what? Dude, I'm gonna let me throw in the 3D. I feel like I gotta see what the 3D looks like now. Let's go. Let's go over to the Zapedi and load up my 3D films. Amazing Spider-Man movies are underrated. Yeah, man, they're definitely underrated. I enjoy the Amazing Spider-Man 2 movie. I just wish it could have been a little bit better, and it's better than the first movie for sure. And I remember seeing this movie at the theater, and I did enjoy it. Yeah, man, it's definitely better than the first one. What was the first one? That lizard guy, right? The lizard was in the first one, I think. And he was trying to turn all the other people into lizards. All right, so I think I got a fair assessment of what the 4K looks like. We'll just take a gander. Take a gander again at this. This 3D is so good looking on this movie. I don't know how people hate 3D, but this looks, for an Amazing Spider-Man movie, this 3D looks amazing. I'm going to skip over to the end where I left off on the 4K. I gotta mess with my gamma. This black looks really dark. So I'm on the 3D version, and I've got the Atmos working as well, as you can see. Come on, man. Oh man, I must have missed. Look at that. So, in the scene where Spidey catches Gwen out of the air, the 3D is so good in this movie. It feels like you can see the actual depth, every single layer, heading all the way down the clock tower, with his webs going across in front of your face. All these cogs are just layered and layered and layered. You do not get that in the 4K version or the 2D version. There's zero crosstalk in this. This, look at that. When Gwen is falling down, he's like picking Gwen up with his web, and it feels like your screen goes all the way across the street. It's so deep. If you are not a fan of 3D and you watch this movie, I feel like you would have to come away impressed. Dude, I haven't seen this part in like forever either. So good. Like if you watch this with Atmos and you can hear the little the metallic sounds behind your head and above you, the little echoes above your head. Now the web just snapped. Gwen is falling down. All the cogs are dropping. Oh, dude. Spidey flies towards the screen with his eyeball in front of your face. Dude, look at the layers. And there's like a dozen different layers here. Now you've got his web is shooting out of the screen, and you don't get that in 2D. This essentially looks like the 4K version in 3 dimensions, though. The detail and everything looks exactly the same. This is the way to do it. This is the way to watch it. 3D is the way to watch this movie. In my opinion, the best looking and sounding Spider-Man movie, the last Spider-Man movie to be shot on 35mm. Transformers: The Last Night in 3D. Yeah, Transformers was good too in 3D. I don't recall it being this good looking though. Like this looks freaking excellent. Now he's crying because Gwen is got the blood coming out of her nose. This just shows me that the Dune 3D Blu-ray disc has got crosstalk in it, because this movie doesn't have. This movie has zero crosstalk, and I've seen Dune like 3 or 4 times in 3D, and there's crosstalk every single time. No matter what you do to try to dial it out, you just can't get rid of it. Whereas this here is just like, there's like zero ghosting, crosstalk, whatever you want to call it. You know, there's a deleted scene where his dad is still alive, like after Gwen dies. I saw, which I saw the other day because I was looking at Andrew Garfield interviews for Spider-Man No Way Home, and there was like a deleted scene. I normally don't watch any extra features because I like to not know what's going on behind the movies, but it popped up and I watched it, and I guess his dad is still alive. But he's at the cemetery. There's like snow blowing in front of your face. There's bushes and tombstones, which are just layered and layered and layered. Man, like I said, like resolution wise and detail, this looks like the 4K version minus the HDR boost. Detail and everything looks the same. And this is a 3D movie with dark glasses on. So I feel I feel like for the 4K version, all they did was maybe jacked up the saturation, contrast, brightness a little bit, and called it HDR. There's crosstalk talk in Dune at the theaters. I remember the floating light thingy, right? Yeah, the floating light definitely had crosstalk in it. Every single scene I saw had crosstalk in it. So I wouldn't say just the light, but everything had crosstalk in it. I wanted to really like it, but the 4K wins for Dune versus 3D. What's this? What spoilers? I didn't spoil anything, did I? If I spoiled something with this movie, yo, shit's been out for like 8 years. You should have seen it by now. All right, let's do the wrap up. Let's do the wrap up on this video. Do the wrap up for this review. What's it got here? What am I going to give the audio for this mix? I'm going to have to hold off on the audio because I can't hear the bass because I got it so low. And I don't recall what the audio, what the Atmos mix sounds like. You know, the thing I like about these Sony movies, these Sony movies is that they always put Sony products everywhere. Like the cell phones are Sony. The camera he uses is Sony. The TVs are Sony. The laptop is Sony. Everything is Sony. The funny thing is, like, I don't know if they stopped making Sony Vaio laptops in 2014. I want to say they stopped Vaio production before 2014, but yet there's still a Sony laptop in this movie. Oh man, look at that 3D. This man crying. Dude, he look exactly the same. See, I feel like the end of No Way Home isn't as emotionally like invested as in this movie. Except for the scene where Garfield saves MJ. But I guess if you didn't see this movie, you probably wouldn't care that that happened in the last one. Oh, spoiler alert, by the way. And I love the fact that they bring up the rhino in the last movie too. He's like rhino. Doing the rhino shooting out the guns and the bullets are flying out of the screen. How good does that look? I like it. I like the part in No Way Home. Spoiler alert, where Toby's like, I fought this alien in his universe, and then Toby's like, I fought Thanos on a different planet, and then Garfield's like, I fought a guy in a metal rhino suit. See, I like him as a Spider-Man because Spider-Man is like this tall, lanky kid, and in the suit, he's very tall and lanky. Like he's not muscular. Whereas Holland is kind of muscular, but he's very short. So in those scenes where Garfield is like, he's got his legs behind his knees, or I mean, he's got his legs behind his head, he looks like he does in the comic books. Like he's got those comic book poses, right? Good stuff. Good movie. A good movie in 3D. Very good movie in 3D. Where's my remote? By the way, for you guys that are still using your Harmonies, if you hop on the Roomy remote app, equally as good if you take the time to actually program it. Everything's IP based, so if all of your gear is IP based, Roomy remote does shit way better than the Harmony can do. Good stuff. The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I don't know why the PD says 235. All right, what do we got? I heard the NZ series doesn't do 3D. What you gonna do? Are you sure about that? I'm pretty sure the NZ does 3D. NZ9. Let's see. What would I do without 3D? Shit, if this doesn't do 3D. 100% does 3D. Yes, the new NZ series does do 3D, per the JVC website. Room E. It's actually Roomy. ROOMIE. Roomy app. It's like $10. It's a $10 app, and dude, it does like everything. It does your lights, does everything IP controlled. I don't know how much better. I mean, obviously you can get better if you want to do like Control 4, stuff like that. But in the same vein as like a Control 4 or a Crestron, and you're more of a DIY guy, then you can do the Roomy app, and it works very similar to that. So check that out. It's on iOS. I don't know if it's on Android. I think it's only on iOS. Damn. What would you guys give? How many of you guys have actually seen The Amazing Spider-Man on 4K? And what would you rate The Amazing Spider-Man on 4K? Type it down in the comment section right now. Hey Shane, where can I get an AVR rack? You can get an AVR rack. You can get them at B&H Photo. I don't know where you're located, but if you're like over here on the East Coast, B&H has great deals on racks. Or if you want to get it through Value Electronics, Robert can order you a rack as well. They have Sanus racks, Middle Atlantic racks. I've got a Middle Atlantic rack and I've got a Sanus rack. The Middle Atlantic rack has better build quality to it. It's kind of a denser, thicker steel. I don't know what the number is, but the shelves and everything seem to be denser, like more robust. The Sanus stuff is nice. I have it, but the steel they use seems to be softer, so it'll bend easier. So if you were to bang into it or something, you'll dent it. So it'll dent easier, if that makes sense. So it doesn't feel as sturdy as a Middle Atlantic rack, although it's like half the cost as a Middle Atlantic rack. You can get Sanus racks at Value Electronics from Robert, who I work with all the time, or you can get Sanus racks at Best Buy, Magnolia. You're probably gonna have to wait for shipping for those guys. I don't know how long those guys would take. Or B&H Photo carries everything that Robert carries as well, plus more. So I would go, if you're over here on the East Coast, I'm sure there's more stuff on the West Coast, but over here on the East, that's where you can get yourself an AV rack for a good price. Well, anyways, guys, as far as video quality is, I would say The Amazing Spider-Man 2, not that different from a standard Blu-ray. You can see that I watched the 3D Blu-ray with dark glasses on, and as far as detail, resolution, clarity, really not a difference between the 3D version and the 4K version. And we're talking with like some sunglasses on, by the way. The biggest difference is going to be the HDR. I did feel that the HDR was cranked a bit high. Saturation levels are better on the 4K version over the 1080p version. I did think like the white highlights, the specular highlights seemed a bit overblown at times and overly hot. I did like the way it handled shadow detail. I did like that you could see very good shadow detail, if not the same as the standard 1080p Blu-ray. So I didn't see any detail being lost or crushed. But as far as if you were to put this into your set and had somebody walk in the room and you said, is this 4K or 1080p? They would probably just say it was probably a standard Blu-ray. Like it didn't look that different, or really any different whatsoever, except for saturation and brightness. So if I was going to give it a rating, I would have to say for the 4K Blu-ray of The Amazing Spider-Man 2, I would have to give it a 7.5. For the 3D version, this is one of the best 3D transfers I've seen. I haven't seen this movie in several years. The second I popped it in, from the opening credits to the last scene in the tower, or when you've got Spider-Man swinging through the city streets, there's such a level of depth and clarity, layer alignment, separation that you're not going to get on a 2D transfer. If you have a capable television display, projector, there's zero crosstalk in this. Maybe one of the best separation 3D transfers that I've seen. I would have to give this 3D transfer. Fuck, is one of the best ones too. Have I given anything a 10? I would have to give this 3D transfer a 9.8. I did feel that this 3D transfer, although being free of ghosting and crosstalk, still didn't have the same level of brightness and contrast as something that you would get from Pacific Rim. I think Pacific Rim would be a 10 as far as 3D. I think I even gave it a 10 for 3D. But this 3D transfer is still a little bit dim. Everything else was pretty much spot on. Like I said, no crosstalk, no ghosting. Separation was like spot on. Detail just as good as the 4K version. And the depth, the envelopment, the immersiveness of 3D of this transfer over the 4K handily beats it. Hands down, the best way to watch this movie would be the 3D version. And if you know how to remux the audio from your 4K disc over to the 3D version, even better. And then I will do the audio later so I can actually hear how much bass is from this. Anyways, guys, that's my thoughts on The Amazing Spider-Man 2 in 3D and on 4K Blu-ray. Have you guys seen it? What do you guys think? I know this is an older transfer. Do you think it holds up to the transfers nowadays in 2021 and 2022? Leave your comments down below and let us know your thoughts on The Amazing Spider-Man 2 on 4K Blu-ray and on 3D. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you again in the next video. All right, let me hit stop on that. And I got a couple more beers to kill, so if you guys got any questions, we'll see what you guys... Sorry, I got it mixed up with the new Epson laser. New Epson lasers are going to be announced officially in February. I don't even know why they're like embargo lifts in February, like 15th or something like that. Everybody knows about these Epson projectors. I've even made a video about it like 2-3 months ago because it's been official like in the UK for the past few months. But I guess the official US announcement is coming February 15th, I think it was. I've got a Zoom call with Epson next week to talk about their models. I think I'm going to get one of the projectors with projectorscreen.com. So I think I'm going to be working with projectorscreen.com to get the new laser models. I believe it's the 1100 and the 1200. I don't know if it's the same for the UK, the overseas models or not, but I believe it's the 1100 and the 1200. I think the 1200 is the laser one. I don't recall if the 1100 was laser or not, but I do know the 1200 is laser. So that's coming in the next couple of weeks. So I guess be on the lookout for that one. I'm positive they're going to be upscaling projectors as well. But I think they're going to be affordable. I'm guessing probably like what, $3,500 to $5,500 for the new Epsons. Just my guesstimation. I don't know for sure. I'm not going to find out till probably next week, but that would be my guesstimation. It was aight in 4K. Atmos mix saves it. 3D is the way to see it. I concur. 3D is the best way to see it. Holy shit. I just, shock top. I just unscrewed it with my hand. Crazy. Love your channel, man. You have the best movie reviews. Please don't slow up too much. I didn't think I was slowing up too much. Do I feel like I'm slowing down? I don't feel like I'm slowing down. You know, I feel like I do too many videos. I know some of you guys are only here for 4K reviews and stuff, but you know, I do. You know, obviously I do like equipment reviews and all that, but I personally feel like I do too many videos, like spacing them out. I have a problem with spacing out my videos. Like I always feel like I should probably do it every other day or maybe every other 2 days, but there's always like so much that I have, whether it's equipment or a movie. If it's a movie, I always feel like I gotta get it out as soon as I can get it out. But then if it's an equipment review, it's like you don't want to sit on it too long because then, especially if it's something new, you want to get it out. I don't know, man. It's like this dilemma I have with whether or not to post every day, every other day, every 2 days, twice a week, once a week. I don't even know. Like, should I have a channel where I do movie reviews? And then should I have a channel where I do tech reviews, equipment reviews? I always feel like on Spare Change that I do movies and tech. Now we've been doing these little vlog videos. So I don't know if most folks feel that all of that shit is not like really centralized and focused. Because I feel like home theater means equipment reviews and movies. But then I think for the common person, maybe not the common person, but I think there's like a big group of people that love movies that don't love home theater, which to me doesn't make sense, but I guess it could make sense. Because I think if you like home theater stuff, like gear and all that stuff, like speakers and receivers, you have to like movies. But I feel those people that like speakers and receivers, I feel they never talk about movies. And then I feel like that should be a separate channel. And then I feel when I talk about movies, those guys don't watch the equipment stuff because either they can't afford the equipment or they don't care about the equipment and they're only here for the movies. So it's like certain videos that I put up, the movies always seem to do very well because I guess it's more attainable to most folks to watch movie reviews because getting a movie for 20, 30 bucks is more feasible than saying buying new speakers. So I feel like most of the movie reviews I do always get the most views, unless it's like an AVR or receiver within a certain price bracket. Then those videos take off usually higher than my movie reviews. So, and then other times it's just like fucking hit and miss, man. This is one of the things about being a YouTuber, because you don't know what the fuck is going on. Like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. I got like 84 or 5,000 subscribers, and I get like shit views. So I don't know if I should be more focused. Should I make Spare Change a movie channel? Should I make Spare Change an equipment channel? Should I make Dynamically Challenged the movie channel and move all that 4K stuff over here and then keep all my equipment over there? Because I think Spare Change would maybe make more sense for equipment because it means money. Spare Change means money. And Dynamically Challenged could mean, 4K transfers is Dynamically Challenged, which is how we came up with the name. At least me and Brass Tacks came up with the name. So I'm always like, I never know what the fuck is going on. I don't know if people are just like, oh, Spare Change, he just dropped another vlog. He just dropped another equipment review. I only want to watch what's going on in next week's 4K review. So I'm not going to watch. Or, shit, he dropped another movie review. I want to find out about these speakers. It's always like a hit and miss with me. Like, I have no idea what the fuck's going on this channel. And then we started these vlogs because I figured for 2022, me and Brian, Whisper Status, and the rest of the fellas were like, listen, I think it's pretty exciting because nobody else is doing it. At least nobody in the home theater space is doing it. Nobody in the 4K Blu-ray space is doing it, review-wise. I mean, you got those guys that they go on these little shopping trips and they go to Best Buy and Target and stuff like that. They buy their movies. But, that's not what I'm talking about, though. I feel like there's got to be a segment of people that it's interested in knowing what the hell we do for these videos. Like, what is it like when we get speakers in? Like, Like, I got to find space for these speakers. I would like to know what these other reviewers do in their reviewing process. Or listen, do these guys only like speakers, or do they like AVRs, blah blah blah, like what do they do, instead of just seeing, do you guys really care? Would you rather just watch me talk about Blu-ray movies? That's why I started this channel. Like, I feel like you guys know what I'm doing when I'm reviewing a movie. This is what you're getting here today. What I see and what I kind of translate to the camera. So I feel like these behind the scene things are interesting. I feel like nobody else is doing that. So that's why we started this whole vlog over on Spare Change. So like I feel like my channel's like so fucking like, I feel like it's a jumbled mess. I don't even know what's going on anymore. I feel like I have this conversation all the time with like Brian and like Brass Tacks. We're always like, dude, your shit's fine. I'm like, I don't even fucking know, man. Because my views always, I always feel like my views suck. Like the shit that I like, I don't even know. It's not even like I like super expensive shit. It's like, review shit that I think people like. Apparently, I don't even know what's going on. This is one of those things, man. When you become a YouTuber and you have several interests, and you kind of want to share it with the community, and then they don't reciprocate, it's like, man, it's a thing. Uncle Jam in the house. What's up, Uncle Jam? I like your vlogs. Thank you. Appreciate that. We put hard work into those vlogs. We got a new vlog we're shooting. I got a new one. We're starting for next week. We got the Bowers and Wilkins and the Martin Logan vlog coming up. So that's coming up next week. I think that'll be a fun one. Doing both makes you appear to be the expert and gives you the edge in movie reviews. Audio matters, and no one can express that in a review as good as you. I appreciate that, JG. You're the most informed, like all of your reviews. Man, I don't know. Some people. Today's drink of choice is Shock Top. Shock Top Belgian White. I don't think I've ever had this drink before. Very orange flavor. Maybe because there's an orange guy on the cover. Never knew you had this channel until it was recommended to me. I feel like a lot of people don't even know I have this channel. Even though I promote it, I try to promote it on the other channel, but I feel like people don't come over from that channel, from Spare Change over here. I like this channel because I can just do whatever the hell I want to do. So, this is one of those dilemmas, man. I don't even know. This is why the second channel exists. I'm not sure if I'm going to spin off this channel into 4K movie reviews only, and then keep Spare Change as everything else. So I've been contemplating on that one. I mean, I feel like Dynamically Challenged makes sense for movie reviews. And I feel Spare Change does make sense for everything else. So but then it's like I got to rebuild everything on this channel, which seems like a pain. Seems like a pain in the butt, but I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, man, it's weird. It's weird that people that care about home theater, they don't care about movies. It's like people that care about movies don't care about home theater. That shit don't even make sense to me. Doesn't even make sense to me. Brass Tacks is a good YouTube channel when it comes to 4K reviews, just like you. Let's see. Let's see if we can call him. He's in London, so he's 5 hours behind me. It's 11:46. Oh no, my bad. He's 5 hours ahead of me. Let me see. Let me see if he's gonna answer. Just notice this is a different channel. Make sure you subscribe. If you're just noticing it's a new channel, make sure you subscribe. You see that? Every time I call this guy, he likes to make sure that I'm not ambushing him to get on a live stream. That's why he never answers. Uncle Jim, the fact you do movies and equipment reviews makes your channel very unique. That's what attracted me to you. I feel like I need a bookshelf full of movie cases behind me to get some more attraction to the channel. Well, listen, I'm about 5 drinks in, so we're gonna cut this right here. Just under 2 hours. Anyways, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing to this channel as well. I'm gonna chop this video up, edit it, put it on the other channel. You know, it's funny. I might get about 500 views on this video, which is probably more informative of this movie. But if I chop it up and make it a 10-minute video and put it on Spare Change, I'll get like 10,000 views. Whereas this video will get something like 500 views. How weird is that? Anyways, I'm going to log off. Thanks for hanging out. And I don't know, leave it in the comment section. What movie should we review on another night and have a couple beers? Leave it in the comment section.